The 237 Passenger Part 1. Call accepted. Eric was never afraid of the night. He'd been driving for rideshare apps for almost 3 years, and the night shift always brought the best rides, less traffic, cooler air, and better tips. He always worked until sunrise. His routine was almost sacred. Coffee at 9 p.m., car clean, phone on the dashboard mount, and the app activated by 10. That Monday night, July 17th, everything was the same. The cold night air created that low fog that seemed to rise from the pavement. The radio played a soft, lo-fi beat, and Eric chewed the last piece of stale gum he found in the glove compartment. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until the notification popped up. 2:37 a.m. New ride request. Pickup location Sycamore Street, 314. Destination Aurora Avenue, no number. He knew the pickup spot, a dark stretch near an empty lot where an old bus depot used to operate. Eric hesitated. It was one of those places he usually avoided at that hour, but the fare caught his attention. $17.20 for a trip that in his experience wasn't even worth $10. He thought for a couple of seconds, shifted into drive, and went. By the time he got to Sycamore Street, the whole atmosphere felt off. The fog was thicker on that side of town, the streetlights flickered, and there wasn't a single living soul on the sidewalk. No porch lights, no dogs barking. He parked in front of 314 and switched on the hazard lights. He waited. 1 minute, 2, 3. Checked the phone. The ride was still active, but no message, no call, no movement. Then at 2:40, the back seat sank with sudden weight. Eric jumped. He spun around but saw nothing, just the indented seat like someone was there, but invisible. "Good evening," he tried, voice unsteady. No answer. Only a soft, steady breathing sound, weak but constant. Chills ran down his arms. Eric glanced at the screen. The destination had changed. New destination. No name road. Mile 12. He didn't recall ever seeing that address before. "Sir, or ma'am, can I confirm the destination?" he asked, trying his best to sound professional. Nothing. The app simply accepted the new route, and the GPS began directing him. Eric took a deep breath, shifted gears, and drove. The radio switched off by itself. The phone froze on the map screen. And for the first time in years of working the night shift, Eric seriously considered canceling a ride, but it was already too late. Part 2, No Name Road. The road was empty. Eric drove with his eyes locked on the path ahead, but his mind raced in every direction. The app's map displayed a strange route, cutting through streets he'd never taken before, avoiding the main road, steering him deeper into the outskirts of the city. As he went on, the streetlights became fewer and farther between, and the fog thicker. Behind him, the seat remained sunken. The breathing, if that's what it really was, stayed constant. No notifications, no buzzing phone. It was like the night itself had frozen around the car. Eric tried to make conversation, like he usually did with the quiet passengers. "Pretty cold tonight, huh?" he forced out. Silence. "This trip, is it far? Because this route here..." Before he could finish, the radio clicked on by itself, but it wasn't playing music, it was static, and beneath the static, a faint voice seemed to whisper something in an indecipherable tone. Eric quickly shut it off. Silence crashed back over him like a wave. "What the hell?" he muttered. A few yards ahead, the GPS indicated a sharp turn. Eric eased off the gas. The road signs were faded, barely visible, and tall weeds had started creeping over the edge of the pavement. This led into an almost rural area, somewhere he'd never once picked up or dropped off a passenger. He glanced at the rearview mirror. Still no one there, but he could feel it, the heat of a presence, the thick air pressing on his skin, and a strange, sickly sweet smell, like flowers left out too long in the sun. Suddenly the GPS froze, the arrow just stopped. Eric pulled over and tried restarting the app. Nothing worked. That's when he saw the old, rusted, crooked sign, half covered by weeds. No Name Road. The car stalled. "Oh, come on, not now," Eric muttered, twisting the key in the ignition. Nothing. He tried again. And again. The back seat creaked softly, and the breathing grew closer. "Who's there?" he shouted, spinning around. Still nothing he could see. Then, the faint sound of the back door handle. Click. Unlocked. And then the voice, at last, spoke. "You brought me here. Now listen." Eric's eyes widened. He didn't recognize the voice. It wasn't male. It wasn't female. It was off, like several voices overlapping at once. The phone screen lit up on its own. A photo appeared, a grainy black and white picture. A man, sitting in the back seat of a car, wearing the exact same jacket Eric was wearing now. The engine roared to life by itself, and the route changed again. No destination anymore. Just one instruction. Keep driving. Part 3. The weight of the back seat. Eric gripped the steering wheel tight. The steering felt heavier. The engine made a deeper, strained noise, like something unseen was weighing it down. The message on the screen still read, "Keep driving." No map, no ETA, no destination at all. He tried turning off No Name Road, tried making U-turns, any turn, but every attempt brought him right back to the same spot. It was like being caught inside some invisible trap. "This has to be some kind of nightmare," he whispered to himself, his voice shaking. From the back seat, the sound of breathing had changed. It was faster now, closer, like whatever was back there was leaning forward, watching him over his shoulder. Eric didn't dare look. The rearview mirror was already flipped downward. The air grew thicker, colder, and then, for the first time, he saw it. Out the side window, between the trees and the broken streetlights, a shape was running alongside the car. It was humanoid, but too tall, too thin. It kept perfect pace with the moving car, its head twisted to stare directly inside, tracking every movement Eric made. He hit the gas. The figure matched his speed without effort. Suddenly, the headlights cut out. The road sank into total darkness, and the radio came alive again, but this time, no static. This time, it was voices, screams, people crying out for help. And then Eric recognized one of them. It was his mother. "Eric!" she sobbed through the speakers. "Why did you leave me? Why didn't you come back?" Eric slammed the radio off, his heart racing. He took a deep breath, fighting to keep his eyes on the road, even though he could barely see anything. The one remaining headlight showed nothing but a wall of thick, endless fog. Then, the back seat creaked loud. Eric glanced back. He couldn't help it. For just a second, only a second, he saw a man sitting there, pale, sunken eyes, his mouth wide open like he was screaming. But no sound came out. His head twisted far too much to be human, his neck bent at an impossible angle. Eric yanked the wheel by reflex. The car veered off the road and jolted to a stop. Silence. The figure was gone. The seat looked empty again. But the smell, that same rotten, sweet perfume of dead flowers, still clung to the air. Eric's hand hovered over the key. He was going to turn it off, get out, run, do something. Then the phone buzzed. For the first time that night, it buzzed like a regular phone again. A new message appeared on the screen. "Almost there. Don't stop now." Eric's hands were trembling. His face was wet with cold sweat. But something inside him, fear of losing his mind, or maybe the burning need to finally understand, made him start the car again and pull back onto the road. And as he picked up speed again, a new feeling settled over the cabin. He wasn't just being watched anymore. He was being remembered. And in the front passenger seat, where nothing had been before, something appeared. A backpack. Old, worn, faded school stickers still clinging to one side. Eric recognized that backpack. It was his, but he hadn't seen it since he was 15. Since the night of the accident. Part 4. That night, that accident. Eric stared at the backpack on the passenger seat as if it were a bomb about to go off. The faded label was still there. St. Damian's High School, 9th grade, Eric. He hadn't seen that thing since. Since the night everything changed. That sharp curve on that rural road, his uncle's car taken without permission, the heavy rain, the music blasting, and the scream. The memory hit him like a slap to the face. He wasn't alone that night. Someone else was with him. No, no, he muttered, pushing the backpack away with trembling hands. But the moment he touched it, the scene unfolded before him in brutal, painful clarity. It was him and Philip, his best friend. They had sneaked out of that party, just driving around aimlessly like they always did. But that night, something went wrong. Eric lost control on a curve. The car flipped. He woke up minutes later, blood dripping down his forehead. Philip was still inside, strapped by the seatbelt, unconscious. Eric tried to get him out, screamed, cried, but the smell of gasoline was thick in the air. And then he ran down the road until he found help, told them he was alone, told them the car had been stolen, told them he couldn't remember anything. Philip was never found. People said the car exploded before firefighters could get there, that the body had been completely burned, but now that memory was alive, raw, breaking through the walls he had built for years. The backpack opened by itself. Inside was an old ID card. Philip Cooper, born 1992. Date of death, blank. Eric screamed. The car jolted forward as if it had hit something on the road. He slammed on the brakes, stumbled out of the car, gasping for air. But outside, the air was even worse, heavy, suffocating. The forest around him felt like it was breathing with him. On the ground behind the car, footprints, wet, fresh, barefoot. Eric rushed back inside, locked all the doors. The dashboard lights flickered on by themselves. So did the radio. A recording started playing. A voice he knew. It was his own voice, but younger. A kid, crying. I didn't want to leave him, I swear. I tried, but I was scared. I was so scared. The interior lights flickered. The rearview mirror tilted on its own, and for the first time Eric saw Philip's face, but not the way he remembered it. The face was burned, twisted, patches of skin melted away, and the eyes black as coal. And yet, he recognized the gaze, the pain, the blame. Philip stared at Eric in silence, and then smiled. The phone vibrated again, non-stop. Messages filling the screen. We're almost there. Get ready. It's almost time. Then the car began to move on its own. Eric let go of the steering wheel. The engine roared. The vehicle accelerated, driven by something unseen. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew one thing for sure. It wasn't up to him anymore. Part 5. The road with no way back. Eric wasn't holding the wheel anymore. The car moved on its own, like it was following an invisible path drawn by something deep within the asphalt itself. The forest around him was changing, subtly at first. The trees looked more twisted now, their canopies heavier, pressing down like a decaying painting come to life. The dashboard clock flickered, switching between 2:37 and 2:38, then back to 2:37, trapped in time, just like him. Eric gripped the seat, refusing to glance at the mirrors. He knew exactly what would be there. Philip, or what was left of him. Suddenly, the radio crackled, a sharp, dry pop, like an old tape recorder being switched on. Then a recording began to play. Eric, you are on your way to judgment. The voice was male, but echoed as if it came through a long tunnel. Mechanical, emotionless. You were the driver. You lied, you ran, you forgot. You built yourself upon absence. Eric reached for the radio, trying to shut it off. Nothing worked. The knob was stuck. Everything was stuck. His phone buzzed in his pocket, non-stop, vibrating violently now. The messages were different, shorter, colder. What are you waiting for? Coming down or not? We're already here, waiting. He looked out the window. At some point, without noticing, the car had drifted off the road. Now they were in some barren, empty lot. Dry, dead. No plants, no trees. Far ahead, something that looked like a rusted garage or an old warehouse. But it was lit, dimly, flickering like candlelight. The car stopped. Eric stepped out, hesitant. The ground was cracked and dry, but his footsteps left muddy prints behind him, as if he were walking on wet clay. The air smelled of rust, old gasoline, and burnt flesh. As he neared the warehouse, the corroded metal doors creaked open. Inside, a car. The one from the accident. Upside down, twisted, the roof crushed flat. The stench was unbearable. In the passenger seat, a figure, charred, but sitting upright, waiting. Eric stepped closer, hypnotized. The blackened figure seemed to move, barely, like brittle paper cracking in the wind. And then, the voice. "I waited. For you," it whispered, weak and raspy, clawing its way out of a burned throat, but unmistakable. Philip, he wasn't dead, or at least, not entirely. "Why didn't you come back, Eric?" the voice whispered. "I screamed. I fought. I woke up after you ran, alone, in the dark. I felt my body melting." Eric collapsed to his knees. Tears rolled down his face, but they weren't from fear anymore. They were from guilt, pure, raw, old. "Please, I'm sorry," he murmured. Philip stood, each burned movement making his blackened flesh crack and stretch. His eyes were hollow, but they glowed. "Sorry," he hissed. He stepped closer. Eric didn't move. "You left me here, trapped. I couldn't. I was just a kid." Eric choked. Philip stopped, just inches away now. "Now it's your turn," he whispered. Eric tried to scream, but nothing came out. Something was pulling him toward the car. Philip's charred hands gripped his arms with impossible strength. The twisted metal of the vehicle peeled back like a mouth opening to swallow him whole, and Eric was devoured. Inside the car, there was no steering wheel, no seats, only darkness and screams, old screams, Philip's screams, his own screams. The dashboard blinked red. "Passenger confirmed. One-way trip." And the engine roared to life, awakening after years of silence. Part 6, Never Alone Again. The darkness inside the car wasn't just the absence of light, it was presence, thick, alive, pulsing, as if the very air were made of regret. Eric tried to breathe, but every breath was hot, suffocating. His hands clawed at metal that wasn't there. He couldn't see, but he could hear whispers, muted laughter, sobbing, doors creaking open and slamming shut, tires rolling endlessly over wet asphalt, and beneath it all, Philip's voice. But now it was blended with others, voices of those who had been left behind, abandoned, forgotten. Eric's mind was unraveling, splintering into fragments. In flashes, he saw his life play out before him. His mother's funeral, the one he never had the courage to attend. The girl he hit on that other lonely road years later. The lies, the running, all of it crashing back down on him, every face, every mistake. The car was a courtroom, and he was the only one on trial. The radio hissed again, a new message. Route completed. Eric fell forward like the car had spat him out. And when he opened his eyes, he was moving again, on a bus, same seat, same time. 2:37 a.m. The road drifted slowly past the windows. Light rain. Thick forest on both sides, but this time, the bus wasn't empty. Every seat was taken. Men, women, teens, elderly, all frozen in place, all burned, faces twisted and melted, yet somehow still recognizable. Philip was sitting beside him, his face still ruined, but now calm, almost peaceful. Eric tried to move but couldn't. He was stuck. The driver glanced up into the rearview mirror. His eyes were sewn shut, but he smiled. Next stop, final memory. The bus kept moving forward, and Eric finally understood. He was one of them now, one among many, trapped forever on the same ride. Same time, same guilt, no way back.